You gotta keep them separated. We're doing separate stuff today, everybody.
We need a little catch up to let you know some of the stuff that we watched individually.
Right? The Crown.
Finally.
Is it the crown jewel in the modern treasury of entertainment media? Is True Romance worth watching, or is it just too old and too dumb? Also, Succession Season 3. Will Braden like it as much as Season 2? Did Micah finally sack up and decide to start watching it again? Let's find out. All right, what do we want to do first? You want to do The Crown?
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been like an albatross around your neck for probably a year by this point, right?
No, I started watching it after she was born.
Yeah, she's basically a year old. 6 weeks. Pretty close.
Okay. So, The Crown, if you don't know what this is about the royal family. Specifically,
it's actually just about that part where Thor is talking to Surt, where he's like, my crown, when I put my crown in the eternal flame. It's actually just about that guy's crown.
For Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So specifically, this is about Queen Elizabeth II. Basically, her entire reign. Not exactly, but her entire reign is the crown. So it starts off, the show has 6 seasons, and it's broken up into 3 different segments. So the first 2 seasons are a young Queen Elizabeth, and then the next
20-something year old.
Right. 20s.
Yeah.
And then a middle-aged, and then, or the next 2 seasons, and then the last 2 seasons are
old-ass Queen Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth II.
Played by, I don't know that actress's name, but she's also in Harry Potter. She is Umbridge in Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The show starts off, Queen Elizabeth is just the princess. She's married to
Daemon Targaryen.
Right. Prince Philip, or Philip. And they are on world tour. And while they're on world tour, her dad passes away. Her dad,
King Jared Harris. I remember the actors. I've seen every time an actor would show up, I'd be like, oh, that guy.
Yeah. I swear they used every
British actor.
It's
the guy that plays Moriarty from the second Sherlock Holmes movie. He's also in Chernobyl. He's in a lot of stuff, this Jared Harris man. He was also in Mad Men. Fun fact, actually, he is Richard Harris's son, who was the original Dumbledore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Her dad dies, so now she has to come back from world tour to become the queen. And it's a big deal that she's the queen because they haven't had one in a long time, and the king didn't have any sons.
So if you're the king's wife is not the queen?
Mm-mm.
No.
Not typically.
Really?
Well, because when Elizabeth becomes the queen, Philip is just Prince Philip of Edinburgh, I think. And so it became a big deal. He got really jealous and had a hard time being not in charge, at the main focus as a man. And so eventually he was called the Duke of Edinburgh, I think. And then eventually he was like, I need a better title. I need to be recognized better. I need to be appreciated more. I need to be recognized as an important figure in this relationship by everybody. And so they coronate him as Prince Philip, I think.
All right.
And so some of the struggles in the first 2 seasons that are hard for me to understand, but I can only chalk it up to that was the time, is the thing with Prince Philip. Him having such a hard time with his wife being the queen and her being the person that they're asking her opinions and what she wants to do and all of that he gets jealous and sulky, and honestly he's kind of an asshole in a lot of ways because of that. Also, serial cheater.
Oh, yeah.
Prince Philip was. And I just thought that was really interesting that they portrayed that, because it doesn't show him in a good light, and I just kind of felt like, just thinking, the royal family had to have approved some of this, I felt like, but maybe not. But that was how it was. The acting, It's really good. You know, like all the actors and actresses that they got for this series were really good, and like was it, I swear they got like every British actor
Yeah.
to show up in this show.
Bummer that Lord Cake Batter couldn't stick around.
Lord Mountbatten.
Right, Lord Batter Up. Played by Charles Dance, aka Tywin
Lannister.
Tywin Big Dick Lannister.
Big swinger.
Yep.
Okay, so then the next 2 seasons, the queen is played by
Olivia Colman.
And she does a really good job. She's kind of like
I'm pretty sure she won Emmys for it.
I think she
maybe at least one.
2. That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I was sad to see the first 2 actors, you know, the king and the queen and Philip, gone. I really like the actors that they had for
the young ones. Because it was Matt Smith and then
whoever that was.
Yeah.
But Olivia Colman does such a good job that, like, how could you be upset about that? You know, it was good.
But those 2 seasons suck because Lord Batman dies at some point, which is just sad.
I think he dies in the last 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No. Yeah, you're right.
Lord Battle Pass dies in the second 2 seasons.
In the second 2, yeah. Because Charles is a young man, and that's who.
Oh, yeah. The guy that was in La Chimera and what's that other one?
Challengers.
Swingers. Yeah, Challengers.
Yeah. It's really interesting because Charles is an asshole. Also, you know, he has a horrible father figure, I will say, and that's not an excuse, you know, but he just plays this entitled child his whole life. You know, when it's interesting. I didn't know hardly anything about Charles, I would say. And so it was interesting to just learn about his story of him dating Camilla and not ending up with Camilla because their families didn't want him to, but he loved Camilla. And when they were first dating as young adults, Camilla was really in love with her husband, who she ended up marrying. And so it was, you know, they were playing games, and the way that she was playing games with her husband, her boyfriend at the time, was to date Charles. And so Charles really loved Camilla, but Camilla really loved, I can't remember his name. I know it, like Parker Bowles or something was his name. Everybody could see that she loved Parker more than she loved Charles, but Charles couldn't let it go. And so Camilla ends up getting married to this Mr. Parker Bowles, and Charles and Camilla have an affair the whole time that she's married.
Yeah.
Which is sad. And just the way that everybody's just cheating on everybody is sad to me.
Yeah.
Nobody has a happy marriage. Everybody either gets divorced or just, you know, has mistresses or misters, you know, the whole time, which is just sad because that's not how it's supposed to be.
Right.
And, you know, they all were dealing with the rules of the church and marriage where, you know, you couldn't marry a divorcee, or if their spouse was still married or was still alive, and you can't marry outside of the church, and you can't, all the things, which again is just so different than anything that I'm used to, you know, in modern day. It was just hard to even understand that, and it's just so frustrating to see people have to deal with that and the disappointments, because Princess Margaret has to deal with that, you know. Her great love of her life, she's not able to marry because he's divorced and his ex-wife is still alive, and then because of church stuff or whatever, I can't remember. I did really like the last 2 seasons where they talk about Harry and William and just William and Kate's dating and all of that, because I'd always heard that Kate was kind of a stalker.
That's what I've heard.
But the way that it's portrayed is it was Kate's mom's fault that she lived the life that she did, and that she was quote unquote a stalker or whatever. It wasn't Kate, it was her mom.
I've also heard that Hailey Bieber was a stalker.
That I think is confirmed.
Yeah. You know what's weird? Her dad is one of the characters in The Usual Suspects.
Oh, really?
One of the main characters, yeah.
Oh.
Something Baldwin. Stephen Baldwin? Yeah, Alec Baldwin's the famous one. Stephen Baldwin, I think is his name. Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess Kate and her mom met William and Diana when they were young or something like that, and then the mom basically laid out Kate's entire life so that she would do a lot of the same things that William had done, and then ends up at the same university that William is at, and then they end up dating and all of that, which was interesting because, like I said, I'd always heard that she was the one that was a stalker or whatever.
I wish someone would plan out my whole life, so I don't have to wonder. You know what I mean?
So that you could marry into the royal family.
No, just here. This is what I'll do. I'll say like, okay, here are my high level goals. I would like to be a multimillionaire living in San Diego. Now you organize my life however you need to. Tell me the choices I gotta make, and then I'll just do it.
Yeah, but what if it turned you into an asshole?
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. But at least I'd be an obedient one.
The other thing that
By the way, guys, obedience is not a virtue as such. Don't get it twisted. In general, actually, I don't think it's a virtue at all.
While I was watching it when Princess Diana died, I was frustrated with the way that they handled it because, there's all these speculation that she was murdered by the royal family.
Okay.
And they did not show that at all.
Maybe there's absolutely no base to that.
But then later on in the season, they do talk about, so her boyfriend was the son of the Harrods guy.
Oh, the owner?
Yeah, okay. I can't remember his name.
That's why he's so freaking rich.
Yeah.
That guy, by the way, was in Day of the Jackal. He's one of the...
The son?
Yeah, he's the main target of the Jackal.
Okay. So, Diana's boyfriend's dad launches this investigation saying that the royal family had Diana and his son, because...
Rubbed off.
Right.
He died too? In the same car?
They were in the car together.
Okay.
They both died. I think he died instantly and Diana died at the hospital. And so he launches this big investigation.
Wait. Sounds like maybe Diana was trying to have him killed and she was supposed to survive since she died after.
No.
So, but it just didn't work out.
No.
New conspiracy theory just dropped.
And so they talk about how they go through the whole investigation and it comes up that it wasn't the royal family. Which that one I'm like, I need to do my own investigating and, whatever. And how, they had to have said that it wasn't the royal family. Otherwise it would have been defamation or...
Well, it would have been a scandal.
Yeah.
It would have been a true scandal.
Yeah.
You're so droll.
I do feel bad for Diana, though. Because...
Oh, Philip, did you have Diana killed? You're so droll.
I really feel like she just got screwed over.
Yeah.
She was like 15, I think, or something like that, the first time that she met Charles.
And he was 30?
No, he was 22. And then they started dating when she was like 18 or 19. And he was 36. No, 26.
Yeah, no.
I think there's a 7-year age gap.
Nope.
Right. So then they get married when she's 20 and he's 27, and then they have their first kid when she's 21 and he's 28.
The age gap is fine if you meet when you are very well established in life. Like if you're
28 and you meet
or you're a 35-year-old,
that's
or a 30 versus 37-year-old, whatever. But when you're 18
and you're dating a 25-year-old or whatever, that's not okay.
Nope.
No. And she really is a child.
Yeah.
Not only, she's 18, but she really is a child and she has no life experience, and everybody is pushing her towards this because he's the future king, and he is still going on with this affair with Camilla the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, Diana finds a gift from Camilla that, she finds it like on their wedding day, and she confronts Charles or talks to Charles, and he's like, we're just friends.
He backpedals his way out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But Charles is just such an asshole and is so mean and just a child. Because he's not allowed to marry Camilla, so now it's Diana's fault. Everything is Diana's fault because he couldn't marry Camilla.
He definitely seemed like he wanted to be perceived as an intellectual too.
In this show?
Yeah, in this show.
Yeah.
Because he's like, and I didn't really watch it, but he's always talking about his like grand ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Was he seen as kind of like
pompous,
like okay,
narcissistic?
Dude, okay, dude,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
There's this
part. I'm saying yes because I have to, but I don't really like.
Yeah.
I don't think you're saying anything interesting.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a part where his main residence is called Highgrove, and he's walking around with his mom talking about all these things that are gonna, I planned this and this is what I did for all of this and me. And the queen is like,
more cowboy than you.
exactly. And the queen is like, okay.
Suck my dick, son.
Pretty much.
And he's like, mother, what? And then it was like a disassociation thing. She didn't even realize she said it. She was just pissed. And she switched to an American accent when she said, suck my dick, son. And then she was like, I'm sorry, what? I wouldn't have said that.
So I definitely don't think that they portrayed Charles in a good way. The whole show.
Okay.
Even, middle age, as a young man to middle age.
This is the current king, by the way.
Right.
Good thing he doesn't have any real power.
Yeah. Okay. So I definitely would recommend the show.
Okay.
I really liked it. I think it covers a lot of time and a lot of different people, and she was like the longest reigning monarch or whatever.
Yeah.
The last queen that we will have in our lifetime.
Yeah, probably.
No, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Because
lifetime? Oh, because they're sons. That's it.
Right.
They're next in line.
Right. Because William's next, and then William has sons.
Unless William takes everyone on a car ride and there's a car crash or something. Cut that. Chat, clip that.
So I think I'm gonna rate this a 9
overall.
Well, I think I'm gonna rate this an 8.5 overall for the whole show.
Okay, 8.5 what?
The Crown Jewels.
Okay.
Out of 10.
All right.
It's worth watching. There's a lot of seasons with a bunch of episodes. It's good.
Oh, are there seasons and episodes? So riddle me this.
I said a lot.
Are the seasons comprised of episodes, or is it the other way around?
And they're broken up into scenes.
No.
With overarching stories lines.
Are they filmed?
Yep.
Were they written by somebody?
Somebody did write them.
Incredible. Okay, so I watched True Romance. I'll just read you my notes. First note, crazy. Second note, beginning feels a bit slapdash. The falling in love immediately, Clarence being willing to just attack a pimp off rip to get Alabama's clothes back feels, and then I guess I lost my train of thought. But it feels a bit slapdash. I don't know. So what is this movie about? Shit. This is off to a very bad start, isn't it? This movie is about a guy that works at a video/record/comic book store named Clarence, stand-in for Quentin Tarantino, I'm pretty sure. And on his birthday, his boss hires a escort girl to seduce him, basically. Meet up with him at the movie theater and then hang out with him. They end up falling in love. Her name is Alabama. They fall in love that night, It's just...
They get married that night. Or the next day.
Yeah, like the next day. But I don't know. It was just... That beginning was moving really fast. Clarence decides that he needs to go get Alabama's stuff back, but he has to go back and confront the pimp that is in charge of her, and the pimp is violent and dangerous. And Clarence goes there with the intention to kill this pimp from the beginning. So, within... one day he's just working at a comic book store, and then the next day he's off to go kill a pimp for a girl that he just met. It just felt a little bit, okay, whoa.
You think that, but then he seems a bit unstable.
Oh, he's totally unstable. But
I mean, obviously, who goes to, whatever, but the marriage, you're like, oh, okay, that's a bit crazy.
Yeah.
And then afterward, you kind of find out he is a bit crazy.
Yeah. Next note, you can tell that this is really the first draft of Pulp Fiction, and there's a lot of good ideas here. They just happen a little too abruptly. Next note, Gary Oldman as a pimp is crazy. It's really good, though. Gary Oldman played Sirius Black and Commissioner Gordon from
Oh my gosh.
Batman Begins. That's him.
You're right.
He's really good in this.
Yeah.
So this is classic Tarantino. He didn't direct this. He wrote it. But classic Tarantino in the sense that there are maybe like 3 or 4 really, really great scenes in this movie. And then the rest of it is just kind of hobbled together. But that pimp scene is one of the really, really good ones. There's a Christopher Walken cameo. That's another one of the really, really good scenes.
I didn't know he was in this.
Yeah, he's interrogating Clarence's dad. about where they went.
Oh.
And then Clarence's dad is like giving this whole monologue about how Sicilians are part black, but he's using the not nice word for black people because he knows it's going to piss him off. So he's calling them the N word a bunch of times, and it's a really great scene, really well written scene, as long as you can stomach the racism going on. Brad Pitt as a stoner, I needed more of that. His doofus ass got them into huge trouble twice, but I have a feeling they'd forgive him. He's just kind of lovable as a complete idiot. But the mafia is chasing Clarence. I'm not going to explain this movie. It's sort of...
No, it's pretty easy. They get married. He goes to get her stuff. He kills this guy.
Oh, right.
And then he grabs the wrong suitcase and it's full of coke.
It's cocaine. Yeah.
And then people are tracking him down because of that. And they go to California.
Right.
That's what this movie's about.
So 2 different parties of mafia people show up at the apartment that Brad Pitt is just getting stoned in. And he's like, and they're just like, "Where's Clarence?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, they said they were going down to the Hollywood Hotel, I think. Just take a right, man, and then just go straight." But he's just being helpful. He's just just an idiot. Really like that. This movie did win me over by the end because you just have to sort of lean into how wild it is, and then it becomes fun. I think that's all I've got to say about it, really. If I were to rate this, I've heard people call this like one of the best movies in the 90s, and
what?
Maybe it is. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know a ton of 90s movies. It's definitely not better than Shawshank. I will say that. Yeah, let's see what we got here real fast. It's not better than Seven. It's not better than Goodfellas. Not better than Fargo. It's Pulp Fiction is better than this. I don't even really like Pulp Fiction. Casino is better than this. Rushmore is better than this. Reservoir Dogs is better than this. Good Will Hunting is way better than this.
Well, I've never seen Schindler's List.
So I guess what are you saying when you say best one? Fight Club is way better than this. What are you saying when you're saying one of the best movies of the 90s? Are you saying like top 100? Big Lebowski is way better than this? Because this wouldn't even make my short list of the top 25 probably.
From the 90s or
from the 90s? I don't know.
Well, because if you think acting wise, do you think that this is a really good movie?
Yes, but all those other movies that I just listed have that too.
Script?
All those other movies have that too.
Well, I think script wise and even storyline, I like so many other movies better.
Storyline especially, because this movie is, like I said, it's scenes. It's good scenes and then some not so good scenes, and they're all meshed together. And I guess people love the good scenes so much that they think that I don't know. I don't want to speak for them. I don't think this is one of the best movies of the 90s. I think it's a solid 7. I'd give it a solid 7 Val Kilmer as Elvis out of 10.
Oh, I didn't get to see him as that.
You never see him.
Oh, you don't?
You just hear him.
Oh, okay.
I watched Succession Season 3. There's really not too much to say about it, except it's just as good as Season 1 and 2. I enjoyed it very, very, very much. Still enjoy it very much. It's still very funny. I still give a shit about all these rich people problems. I'm going to keep saying that every single season that I review. And it's amazing to me how much they got me to care. There is a really good... The season finales, every single season of this show are dynamite good. Like that season 1 finale where Ken accidentally kills the kid. Amazing. That season 2 finale where they're on the yacht and Ken is the head on the spike that's going to go on the spike. Amazing. And then he flips. Amazing. The ending of this season, amazing. Really, really great stuff. It's a little bit of a disservice to not talk about it more, but I just loved it. And it's going to be me repeating the same things that I've said about the first 2 seasons over and over again. So I'll just rate it. I'm going to give it a 9.3 very insecure Kens out of 10. Spoilers. Did you see that scene where he's in the pool and he almost drowns?
And the episode ends.
That was crazy.
I didn't even think that his face was in the water during that scene. Because you see he's in the pool and his kids are on the deck.
Well, they leave.
Right, they're on the deck. Him. And then they're like, oh, okay, bye, Dad. We're going to go inside. And he's like, Oh, okay, yeah. And then he drops
his
his
beer.
beer into the pool.
No,
And
I think you do see his face fall in.
oh, okay.
And I remember like, and it's playing like the Succession theme, but the slow version. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
dun 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 dun.
Mm-hmm.
The really slow version. And his face goes into the water, and then the episode ends, and I was like, whoa, what a way to end an episode! Like
Yeah.
just like so subtle because you have to be watching to see
Yeah.
that his face goes in the water,
I didn't
and
even see his face go in.
it's
Yeah.
shot so well, and that's one thing I will say is as this series has gone on, it's become prettier as time has gone on and shot in a maybe a more traditional way, I guess.
Yeah,
But
because
I like it.
I've said this before, but from what I've read or seen online, this show is shot almost like reality TV in the sense that they'll shoot an entire scene, and actors are not told to stay on a specific mark. Basically, all these actors are so good that they know where they're supposed to be or whatever. But also, the camera is where it needs to be and gets to where it needs to be
Mm,
for these scenes to be
okay.
filmed. And so, in the sense that the whole scene is shot in one take, basically, with all these different cameras going on, that reality TV, in the way that reality TV is kind of shot,
Yeah.
So,
Okay. There were some one-liners from this show
this season.
that I sent from this season that I sent to Micah. Like, do you remember that one where they're about to take a picture? So in the context of this episode, they're basically choosing who's going to be the Republican nominee for the presidency, and they choose someone that Shiv hates,
Mm.
and they're about to all take a picture at the end of this little convention that they have, and that guy is going to be in the picture, and Logan is like, Shiv, come on, family picture, and she's like, with him? No, I'm not going in there. He's like, Shiv, get in the photo, please. He's like, no, I'm not doing it. And then he like looks at her and he's like, Shiv, are you a part of this fucking family? And then she's like, I'll stand on the other side, but I'm not standing next to him. And then Logan looks at her and he's like, you win, Pinky. And then turns around. He's he's in control. Everybody's afraid of him.
Yeah.
I would be afraid of him too.
Yeah.
He's just got this.
Boar on the floor.
It's fun. Boar on the floor.
So scary.
He's just got this gravitas, Brian Cox does, and it's so good. So many good one-liners from this. There were a few guest star appearances. Adrian Brody was in a few episodes, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. He's the one that won the Oscar this year for The Brutalist.
Oh, okay.
Alexander Skarsgård is in this.
Yeah.
I like his character a lot. He's just...
He plays like a YouTuber, right?
No, he's like a tech billionaire.
Oh, okay. But
he's so particular. He's just... He gets very bored very easily by everything, and there's a part where Roman goes to visit him because Roman's like the best guy to talk to him. He has this insane villa on Lake Como, and he's like, and Roman's like, it's a beautiful place, and he's like, yeah, I guess, I don't know. Been sleeping on the floor for like a week because I've been researching the best mattress. I just want the best mattress in the world. And then at a certain point, he says something along the lines of, I just get excited so often when I meet people that I think are interesting, but they always disappoint me. He's just one of those guys that just has everything, gets bored of everything.
Yeah.
Nothing really excites him. And he's just this really tall...
I guess he is a great example. Correct me if I'm wrong, but does money buy happiness?
Oh, sure.
Because it seems like money buys him pleasures.
But he doesn't even enjoy them.
Right. It's just so fleeting.
Yeah.
That does money buy happiness?
Yeah. I will also say Kendall's progression has been amazingly handled in this show, because he's sort of an insecure sort of wreck from the beginning, but at least he's sober. But then his dad rejects him at the beginning, and it sort of sends him down a spiral. And then he gets really mad and he wants to knock his dad out, and that's why he initiates the hostile takeover. But then he kills that kid, and then all of season 2 is him being haunted, basically, and just being a whipped dog. And then he goes back to sort of being like his original self,
But he's
his
not
his
sober still.
his angry self. But then by the end, he's losing it, and that's why he like almost drowns
dies.
himself. And then the spoilers, the last episode, he tells Shiv and Roman what happened to that kid.
How did you feel about that scene?
What scene?
The way that Roman and Shiv were trying to console him, because he's like, I killed this kid, and then they're like, okay, yeah,
It sounds like you didn't kill him. You just
he died or
yeah,
whatever. But then
it just sort of happened. I thought that scene was really good.
Well, and then
like it's not true because he does bear responsibility 100%.
Yeah.
But like, you know, within the context of these people that are all narcissists, but they still seem to kind of want to be loving to each other at times. Like their reactions made perfect sense to me. And Roman like turning things into jokes that he shouldn't, but that's really the only way that he knows how to cope with anything.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
And then them becoming like unified as a team by the end.
Yeah.
I thought that was just compelling stuff. And then they go and confront Logan, but Logan has found a way to one up them.
Yeah. Was that season 3 where with the donuts?
Donuts.
Logan sends them donuts.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think it was.
Do you want to tell that?
So Kendall is starting his
another takedown, basically, right?
Right. They're trying to pin all the cruise stuff on Logan and knock him out that way. And he is meeting with all of his siblings, and they all end up there on the same night. And they come in secret, right? Because they're supposed to be on Logan's side.
And yes, publicly and to Logan and to everybody, they're on Logan's side, and then they all end up at Ken's house.
Right, just talking about strategy. You know.
And Logan has sent them donuts. He knows that somehow all of them are together.
Yeah, and he knows it's gonna f with their heads.
Yes.
And nobody eats a donut.
But Connor wants to eat a donut. And he's holding it, and they're like,
there's no way he would poison this, right? He wouldn't.
Right? He would.
He wouldn't do that.
And then Connor's like really thinking about eating one, and everyone's like, put that down.
Yeah.
Because they can't know for sure.
Right. Okay, he might do it.
I think Rohan was like, I'm like 99% sure that those are not poisoned, but put that down. Or something like that.
Yeah.
I was just...
In other news, Kendall freaking Shanghai's Greg into buying a $40,000 watch. That happens in this season.
Whose wedding or what event were they at that Greg was showing that off, his watch?
Oh, he's like, oh, is that the time? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
That was
their
mom's wedding. Yeah,
okay.
The Kendall and Shiv and Roman's mom.
Yeah.
Got married. Yeah, he's just flashing the watch.
Oh my gosh. And then that same night, the donuts, and Kendall was trying to get everyone on his side, and then Connor's like, no, I'm on Dad's side. You know, I'm not doing it. And Ken's like, get out. Nobody wants you here.
You're worthless anyway. Yeah.
And he just keeps saying that. You're worthless. Nobody wants you here. And Roman's like, damn, dude, like, he didn't hear that enough growing up. Like, can you stop?
And he basically explodes on all of them because they all say
but
no.
I just like the way Roman's like, he didn't hear that enough growing up.
Roman had some great one-liners in this one too. There was one at the very beginning of this season where he's like, they're traveling somewhere, and he's like, you want me to ride with you, Dad? And then Logan's like, oh, you want to suck my dick? And then he gets into the car, and then Roman's like, he said to his son as he was being accused of sexual misconduct. Just a lot of great one-liners. You're gonna laugh when you watch this show, as long as you. There are people that we're friends with that have tried to watch this show, and they find it hard to get into initially, which we did too. Once you are in, though, like, you're gonna laugh a lot and you're gonna enjoy it a lot. It's great programming.
Wom scams.
All right.
You're a great actor. Okay.
That's all we got. Now, f*** off. In honor of Succession.
Okay, bye.